What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Joel Friday TV podcast. I am Joel Friday TV. Bienvenido. Welcome to the show. It's amazing. It is Friday. It's not Tuesday. It is Friday, and we got an interesting show coming up here. Welcome to the show. Amazing stuff. Let's get right into it. Topics to be covered today. As you guys know, last week, what did we talk about? I don't know. I forgot. But that's why I got it written down here. Last week, we talked about why the world today hates Jesus. We got into that. Why in the world today hates Jesus? We got into that, and we talked about because of the fact that God doesn't make plans. God doesn't like the ego. God doesn't fit into people's feelings. And people don't like that. So we got into that and some other things. I can't remember fully right now because I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast. So if you want a podcast, but it was deep. It was very deep and insightful. So if you want to podcast that, you can. watch that at another time, you have that opportunity either on YouTube or you can listen to the audio podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff, right? So you can podcast that. But today, we are talking about Thanksgiving family arguments, the drama that goes down at the dinner table. Oh, we get into it because some very interesting stuff popped up. And I want to get into it because I realized a lot and it was very interesting. So I want to get into some stuff like that. Also, happy Black Friday. Also, happy Thanksgiving post, right? Amazing. I had a great day yesterday. I enjoyed the food. It was very interesting. A lot of stuff was going on. And even though there were some arguments that was happening, it was all in the name of Jesus. It was all good, right? But it was getting hot. It got hot. But we're going to get into that, and I'll get more into detail. So before you do that, you know what you got to do first. First, hit that like button. Smack it. Lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the message out and the subscribers up. I said it backwards, but you guys get the point, right? Make sure you guys do that. Instagram, you can do that as well. Tell your people about the show. Hey, what's up, Nicole? Nicole is in the Instagram chat right now. She said, hollering. My cousin is in the chat, and she was there last night at the dinner table. What's up, Nicole? Amazing stuff. Anyway, before we get into that, let me just make these few announcements. You can call in. It is a talk show. You can call in and we could talk about the topic at hand. We could talk about past shows. Whatever you want to talk about, we could talk about it. You can call in at 888-775-3773 and we can get into it. I don't mind. I'm here for it. We can argue. We can fellowship, whatever you want to do, all in the name of Jesus. You can do that. If you can't call in for whatever reason, you're busy, you're driving, you ain't got no arms, whatever. If you cannot call in, you can super chat or send a donation via Buy Me a Coffee, and I'll answer your question or comments and I'll read them out live on air, or you could just support the show financially and donate as well. So you can send a super chat. You can you could toggle that in the chat box, or I posted the link in my description, and it'll take you straight to buymeacoffee.com, and you can donate a donut, right? Not an actual donut, but a donut in the form of a donation. And you can send your question or comment there, and I will read it live on air, right? Amazing stuff. I'm on all podcast platforms, audio only. I am on all of them, I think. I should be on all of them. But the main ones, Apple Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all those ones, I am on those. So if you ever want to listen to the show, audio only, then I am on those. Just type in Joel Friday TV Podcast, and I'll pop right up. Boom! And you can watch the past episodes. Right? Amazing stuff. So let's get into the topic today. Chat, how y'all doing? How's the chat doing? Matthew with the super chat already. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. He says, happy Black Friday, Mr. Friday. Well, half your day. He black. Love you. Right on, Matthew. I appreciate it. Love you back. You the man. And thanks for always watching the show. I always see you in the chat. You amazing. This whole time I thought it was an actual donut. John Frederick said he thought it was an actual donut. That would be. Hey, you can donate me some actual donuts too. I ain't mad about it. Maple bar, glazed twist, and donut holes. Actually, donut holes before the glazed twist. Maple bar and donut holes. I ain't mad about it. And an orange juice. Stop playing. Don't play with me. Hake says freeze the donut for later. I freeze a lot of stuff. Not gonna lie. As soon as that expiration date looks like it's coming up, put it in the freezer. And that thing will last months. Joel, the Super GSS Norris says, Joel, I'm working out. Right on. Get those gains. I got my last pumpkin pie of the season waiting at home right now. Mr. Pink, here's where we have a problem. You bought pumpkin pie. If you gonna watch the show, you gotta be eating some sweet potato pie only. Only, sir. Nah, I'm playing. Pumpkin pie is good too, but it ain't like sweet potato pie, I tell you that. Anyway. All right, let's get into the topic. So yesterday, I was at my family member's house, or my mom's house. And, my uncles came over, uncle, and my cousins and my siblings were there. And every time we have family gatherings, we all eat and then we talk, we conversate, right? We enjoy the fellowship. It always ends up happening inevitably. Sometimes we play some games. Sometimes we do some dance videos. If you see my profile, some of my siblings, we do a little dance video, TikTok. We hit the moves. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. But 99% of the time, we're talking, right? We're getting into some conversation. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. And some things came up that were very interesting. And I wanted to talk about it. Friday was the Kanye. My cousin says Friday was the Kanye West of the family last night. When I tell you guys, let me just lay the groundwork. When I tell you guys that they tried to jump me, and I don't mean physically, right? But I mean arguments. And it's not the first time that happens. And I'm okay with that. I'm not even mad about it. But when I tell you that the whole family was against me, it was so interesting. Let me adjust here. And that's okay because it's all fun. It was fun stuff. And, nobody was angry. Nobody was about to fight or anything like that. But it was good debate, right? And everybody was going against me, but one of the things that came up was, my uncle had said, there was a topic, not just my uncle, but my uncle and a few others were talking about that evil doesn't exist, right? That was one of the arguments, that evil doesn't exist. And I was like, what the? And people were really saying that evil doesn't exist. And I was listening to them explain it, and I can understand why they were saying that, my uncle and my cousins were saying this, that evil doesn't exist. And to me, I thought that was so interesting. And I totally disagreed. Because, but I understood what they were saying. And the argument was that there's only God. God is the only being that exists. Only love, right? And evil doesn't exist. The only way evil exists is if we believe into it, right? And that was my uncle's argument, along with some other people there. And I just didn't agree with it because for me, just because we believe into it or not doesn't mean it exists or not. So for example, the argument that I used was if an atheist doesn't believe in God, does that mean that God doesn't exist? Right? If an atheist doesn't believe in God, which they don't, does that mean he doesn't exist? So that was my argument, but they were saying that no, evil doesn't exist. It only exists if you believe into it. And I just didn't agree with that. And then my uncle goes on to, he goes further and he's like, okay, well, let's think about how when you're a child, when you're a baby and you first come out the womb, when you do have evil thoughts or you start doing evil things, why does that happen? And then we both agreed on the idea that it's programming, right? Somebody had programmed the minds, whether it be the parents, whether it be the school, your friends, your family, whatever. The mind gets programmed, right? So my uncle was like, well, the reason why that happens is not evil. It's that the world, society has programmed the mind to think in this way. And my argument was like, okay, well, let's use that. If my mind is being programmed, or the baby's mind is being programmed, what force is causing them to have that negative programming on somebody else? It has to be evil, right? It has to come from somewhere. The bad programming. I asked my uncle, I was like, Uncle, is the programming that people are doing to society to control, is that bad? Is that negative? And he says, yes. I was like, okay, well, where does bad and negative come from? And I'm like, it has to come from evil. So that was an argument for a little while. And I just did not agree. And my point of view, this is where everybody started jumping me. This is where everybody started jumping me. Hold on, let me make sure I get the lines I could see. Okay. And then this is where everybody started jumping me. Hold on. Oops, I messed it up. This is where everybody started jumping me, right? Because then I started to ask how I view good and evil, right? And this is what I explained. I said that there are two spirits that live within. There's the evil spirit and the good spirit, right? And this is where like voices started getting loud. They're like, no, evil does not live within us. And then my cousin was like, evil and good, God is both evil and good. And I was like, what the? That doesn't make sense. But I was explaining to them that there's two spirits that live within. There's the evil spirit, which is the ego, the ego nature, which is emotions, feelings, all those things. A negative nature, and it's evil. And then there's a good nature, which is God, that lives within us. And they both dwell within, right? But the evil spirit that dwells within does not belong there, but it's in there. Why is it in there? Because it has been developed, or not developed, but it entered into us as soon as we start hating our parents, hating our situation. When anger entered in is how evil got in, which came from anger, right? Or anger came from evil. So that evil nature lives within, and it's not at home. It's just, it's renting space. We'll say that, right? But it does exist. It's there, whether we believe it or not, right? And when we don't believe it and we overcome it and we stop believing the thoughts that trigger the emotions and negative actions, and we overcome it, it'll flee from us. It'll be gone. But the more that we believe into it, then that's why it stays. But it does exist. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Right? It does exist. Now, when the evil spirit within flees from us, or the more that we die daily to the flesh, right? The more that we die daily, the more the Spirit of God, which is our true nature, which is us, which is who we are, comes about. It comes to life, right? But they can't exist together. So the more we die to the ego, which is the evil nature, the more that we resist it, the urges to act out to feed the ego, then that's when the spirit comes about, and then we start walking on water like a song, right? We start walking on water like Jesus did. And that's the point. Jesus had the same spirit of God in him that all of us have. And I'm going to get into the background of Jesus as well in another topic that came up. But evil does exist, right? And the argument, argument that they were making was, well, it only exists if you give life to it. Now, there's a point of that is true, that if you do give life to evil, it does rule you. It does have control over you, right? But if you don't give it power, it doesn't have control. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay? But then I started thinking more. And reflecting. And I think I realized why they believe this. And I could be wrong. I don't know exactly why they believe this and why they have their perspective on it. So I could be wrong about why they may be believing this. But when you believe in evil, right, it does bring a sense of judgment, of guilt and shame, right? So if I say evil does not exist, right, what it does is it takes away the shame and the guilt that we have for making mistakes. And we shouldn't have guilt and we shouldn't have shame for making mistakes, right? We shouldn't feel guilty. We're just learning along the way. And also, that evil spirit is influencing us to do the things that we wish we wouldn't do, right? But we're learning along the way, so we shouldn't feel guilty and we shouldn't blame ourselves and we shouldn't have shame and look down on ourselves, And what they believe as evil, they think that having evil makes them do that, or believing in the devil is what makes people feel guilty. That's not true. It's not that the devil being real makes people feel guilty. It's the judgment. It's the judgment that makes people feel guilty and shame. Judging themselves or believing the lies about the judgment, right? Judging the situation and saying, that's bad, that's good. The judgment is what creates that conflict. Not the fact that evil is real. We have to overcome the judgment. Because right and wrong do exist. I want to say this. Right and wrong does exist, right? And it's made to exist. It's supposed to exist because that's when you realize if you're on or off track, if you're walking in love and if you're not. There's boundaries, right? But we're not supposed to feel guilty when we're walking outside the boundaries. We're not supposed to feel good when we're walking inside the boundaries, right? But they do exist. And the judgment of those things are what caused the problem. I'm off track. I sinned. I made a mistake. I'm a bad person. That has nothing to do, that's evil, right? Those thoughts are evil. But if you don't believe those thoughts and you don't make those judgments, right, then they wouldn't affect you. And you can just live your life as a free person and be okay with making mistakes. Because everything is a lesson, right? Everything is a lesson. Right or wrong or mistakes or good deeds don't define things. They're just a lesson for you to learn. So you make a mistake, you learn why you made the mistake. And you may make the mistake again, and you may keep making the mistake. But eventually you'll stop. Right? Because you'll be tired of doing the same stuff over and over. But the point is, it's a lesson. We're not supposed to feel guilty about living life. You're supposed to live life freely. No guilt, no shame, no nothing. And guilt and shame is evil. But pretending evil doesn't exist so you don't feel guilt and shame is not proper. Because evil does exist. But the issue is not evil existing, it's the judgment over yourself. And Satan gets in the ear and he's like, yeah, that's so bad what you did. You're such a bad person. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve this. People shouldn't like you, right? and you believe those thoughts, and then you judge yourself. But best believe Satan, the evil was in your ear saying that, and it does exist. But the problem is you believed it, and we need to stop believing the enemy, because its only mission is to steal, kill, and destroy. But he exists. He there. So that was one of the arguments. And the crazy thing is, I didn't stay long enough because I had to get up for work in the morning early. So I didn't stay long enough to really get into it, right? But that was one of the arguments, and I thought it was so interesting. But we're just supposed to be living beings, just watching and learning along the way. We got to surrender all of our efforts, all of it. Stop trying anything. Stop trying to be right. Stop trying to do good. Stop trying to seek God. You just be and surrender to all of it. And it's not easy. I understand. I'm learning too. It's not easy. It's hard. Especially when the world teaches you, you got to work. You got to put that work in. And yeah, you should go to work. And yeah, you should do what's in front of you to do. But spiritually, you surrender. You just let it go. And let life unfold. Go with the flow of life. Life will lead you if you surrender your efforts. Right? Surrender your desires, surrender your wants. And it's the best way to live because God's right there with you. And you have no depression, no anxiety, no fear, no doubt, none of that. Perfect peace. No conflict because you're just trusting the process, trusting God to lead you. But you have to grow into that. So, evil does exist, but we don't have to be subject to it. Let me get to, I'm going to get to some more. Oh, there was some more. You thought it stopped there? Oh, no, there's some more arguments that we're going to get into. But I do want to do some super chats real quick because I didn't get to them last week. So let me get to a couple super chats here. Carver 531. Can I get the little ring? Super chat.
Super chat.
Super chats.
Oh, shoot. How's my video full screen on Instagram? What the? Let me see. Hold on, guys. I'm just checking something here. It's full screen. Is it full screen this time? Or is it Instagram screen?
On YouTube?
On Instagram. Anyway, while he's looking that up, Carver531 says, Joel Friday on Friday. Been waiting to say that. Right on, Carver. And he says, he black Friday. Right on, Carver. I appreciate the donation. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Anyway, let me go to some more. And then we're going to get back to the family arguments. Video looks good. Thanks, James. Thanks, Hassan. Okay. Let's see real quick. Jessica with a donation says, always appreciate your topics, Joel. Keep up the amazing work. The amazing work you're doing. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donuts. She sent me a couple donuts. Right? Virtual donuts. Amazing. I appreciate that, Jessica. And I appreciate you guys for the super chats and the donations. It's helpful. So thank you. Right on. So let me get back to the topic. You can call in 888-775-3773. The lines are open, so you can call in if you would like to talk about the topics at hand. Right? Or talk about, maybe you want to share some of your Thanksgiving arguments. That one is hilarious. Amazing. Chat, what do you think about my family ganging up on me? Contradictory hour with Joel. Contradictory hour with Joel, says Toby. What you mean? How am I contradictory? Joel, the black sheep of the fam, says John Frederick. I skipped through the Joel commercial. Joel dancing with thoughts, says David Singleton. Mr. Pink says, evil is real. Oh, I don't know what that means. Skunky X says, evil exists. Many people have shown us how much. That's true. Amazing. Anyway, let's get back to the topic. This one I may want to bring in Hassan. So Hassan, if you want to comment on it, just jump right in. Yeah, so I actually was talking to Hassan about this briefly this morning. And we were talking about being born of sin, right? And I have three simple steps of returning to God that I believe are the three simple steps of returning to God, that if we just remember these, it'll help us stay on track. So remind me to get to that before we end the show today, right? But we're just going to keep it chill. I do want to read some more of your conversate with you guys in the chat. Today is Friday. You know, there's no, the office is closed, so we'll keep it light and no, I don't know about light, but we'll keep it fun. Okay? I'll hopefully read some of your guys' messages here and we can conversate. But I was talking to Hassan this morning, and we were talking about being born of sin or being born in sin and being born from sin. And I thought that was so interesting. And this is what I believe. And you guys can call in and talk about it or send a super chat with your question and comment. I think kids are born, well, for one, I think all people are born from sin. Not born in it and not born of it. And I know that's just like a play on words, but I think people are born from sin, right? And I think that kids are born innocent, but they're not pure. That's my belief. Because, I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe that the act of baby making is impure. It's not a pure thing. Because if you think back to Adam and Eve, when the fall happened and, you know, Eve ate the apple and then she convinced Adam to eat it, and Adam listened to her and he ate it, and then God was like, right? And the curse happened in the fall. They were naked, right? So we know the story. They were naked, but when the fall happened, they recognized they were naked and there was embarrassment or whatever. Then they saw it as sexual, right? That's where the fall happened, right? So then they start to see the private parts and body parts as sexual. So it became impure. So then God then made it to where you became subject to each other before Jesus came about, right? Then you became subject to each other in a sexual way, in a lustful way, because now temptation was present, right? And then God made it to where you would lay down with each other and make babies that way, the cursed way. And when Jesus came back, he made it so we can return back to him, right? And our hearts can be pure. And God also made it a way to where though we do get together in marriage and like say we have sex and make a baby, he put an anointance over it, like some extra grace with it. So you don't have the same reactions and the same consequences that you would have if you were having sex out of wedlock. But the act of baby making itself, in my opinion, is impure. So babies are born impure, right? Innocent though. Innocent, right? They don't know nothing. The light is in them, but yet they still have the nature of evil has already latched itself on because it was born through an impure situation. Amazing. I'm getting a call right now. I can't answer. So, but I think all of that came from the fall of Adam and Eve. But Jesus himself was absolutely pure. Why? As we all know, Jesus was not conceived from sex. Jesus was conceived of the Holy Spirit, right? Through Mary. And because he wasn't conceived in sex, he was the pure one, the pure creation. So he came out pure, untainted. That's why he knew no sin. Because he was pure. But the rest of the world, including you and I, we come from sin. Right? And we spend our lives overcoming it. But we can be raised properly by having good parents and by being good parents and being good examples to where we make the overcoming process a lot easier for our children that we bring up. But they're still battling with evil. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're still battling with evil because they were conceived through evil. And I know that seems controversial, but it's really not, right? Because God ordained it to happen so you can get married and have, you shouldn't be having sex like crazy and stuff like that. But if you do, it's better to do that within marriage opposed to being out of marriage, right? And God made it decent to have sex within marriage and have babies in the process. But keep in mind when you're having that sex, your baby is a sinner. I don't know if that makes sense, but we do become pure by returning back to Jesus, but not as we enter. Not as we enter the world. We are impure beings, and that's my opinion. Hassan, what do you think about that topic?
Yeah, I love that topic. I love the discussion we had earlier this morning, and yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I never really heard that perspective of, just the act itself, has you in the sinful nature. It's interesting. I mean, I would say, I think my take on that would be probably about 99% of all the babies that are made in the act probably are. But I don't know. I still would like to hope that there's, a small percentage that is maybe doing it the right way under God, and that. But it's interesting because you think like even the go be fruitful, multiply.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what does it exactly mean? After the fall and all of that. So yeah, it's interesting, definitely to think about.
So do you think that continuing the conversation, because we only talked for a quick second, y'all, so this wasn't like planned or we didn't have like this full on discussion, but do you think that like the issue, do you think that there's a possibility that having the sex within the marriage can create a impure child?
Well, it's interesting because you hear majority. I would say the 85% would say that we're born sinners.
Right.
And you hear that a lot. That's like the common take.
Right.
And then there's like the less common thing you hear where it's born into sin. And
Right.
it's not that you're a born sinner, you're born pure,
Right.
but you're now born into the world and into messed up parents and family or whatever. And now you take on this nature.
Right.
But I think it might have been the first time I heard you add that third thing today, of all are just born from sin. Now, let me ask you this, though, because if you're saying that all are born from sin because of the sex,
Right.
then are babies pure at birth?
Well, see, that's my thing, and I was just realizing this as we were talking about it this morning. I never even thought about it, like sat down and was like, born from sin of. I mean, over the years, I've like questioned that, but I never really like thought about it until this morning we talked about it. But I don't believe that children come out pure, but like I don't think they come out evil. I'm not saying that if they're not pure, then they must come out evil. I'm just saying that they're tainted. We're tainted, but because of Jesus and Jesus died for us, the story is the reason why we can return to it and return to a pure heart. But I think because impurity had to happen in order to make the baby because of the fall is the reasons why children come out impure, but yet they're still innocent because they mean well. They don't know any better, but they don't know about judgment or anything, but they're still subject to judgment. They're still subject to all these things. So yeah, I do think that children come out impure.
It's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like I said, I've never really heard or kind of thought about that perspective. I mean, well, again, it feels similar to the concept of that we're just born sinners, that we're just born, So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, even when you hear about like we were talking about David in the womb, he said that I must have been cursed from the womb. And so it's like, it's interesting to think about even Jeffrey Dahmer in the miniseries, which I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a scene where the mother is pregnant with Jeffrey Dahmer, and she's yelling at the husband, and she's angry, and then she touches her belly after like yelling at the father.
Right.
And it was interesting because I was like, wow, like that spirit could have, maybe that has something to do with the spiritual, thing that Jeffrey Dahmer took on.
Wait, what do you mean she touched her belly? What did that mean?
Well, she was pregnant with Jeffrey Dahmer, and she was like, I don't like being pregnant. I hate being pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like yelling at the father.
Yeah.
And like calling him names and being like, blah, blah, blah. And just having this whole mean demeanor,
Oh, I see.
And angry demeanor. And then she went to go touch her belly after she started yelling at him.
Oh, I see.
Like just saying like, but it was like symbolic to that story of David of like saying, maybe I was cursed from the womb.
Yeah.
Because I don't know exactly if that was like how David was born, like through the concubine of different women, or I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the biblical thing of that exactly.
Right.
But I think that, yeah, like that's always made sense to me, that you could like take on the spirit while in the womb.
Yeah.
And that anger and everything. And
But
that could cause you to be a born sinner. But I don't
Right.
know. I don't think that inherently you're just born,
fair.
But I don't know. But it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting. Because
Yeah.
I would say majority of people, married or not, holy matrimony or not, they're having sex definitely probably in a fallen nature and
Right.
in a fallen place. So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. I think to add to that point too, what you said about how you can, if you're angry while the woman's pregnant and she's like within the chaos of the house and she's angry and the husband's angry and she just doesn't care and she just eating whatever she wants and just being, yeah, there's an effect on the child obviously too, and obviously it's a spiritual thing. So if there's a spirit in the mother that's causing her to do all these angry things and crazy things, of course the baby is going to be at fault too. But even in a physical way, if they say if a woman eats a certain diet, it can affect how the baby comes out. And if it's all spiritual, my thing is like, okay, then what happened after we have sex, though, right? What happened when we had sex? That I probably shouldn't be saying this much.
Yeah.
But
What'd you say the first time? You said something the first time that was a good code word. I forget though.
Does it fornicate?
No,
that
almost feels worse.
I don't even know. But yeah, I think that all of it plays a part. And also, yeah, when the baby is born, I just feel like at the end of the day, the woman and the father and the mother, it played a part before the baby came out as far as the environment, and it also played a part in the fact that they had sex. That's just what I believe. And we spend our lives trying to get it right. And I think that's just part of the curse. You know what I mean? Even though the curse has been lifted, but yet, meaning that we can return back to God in a pure way, but yet we still have to bear children in the cursed way. And women still have to have their monthly cycle, and men still have to go out and labor. It's still the curse still exists, but we can overcome it. We can definitely overcome it. So anyway, chat, what do you guys think about that? Let me see what the chat has to say. Do you guys think that the baby is born from sin and is not born pure? And thanks, Hassan, for jumping in with the take.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
Right on. Lilith, Matthew says Lilith, whoever that is, was jealous of God and wanted to create her own in her image without God. I'm not sure what that means.
The original Eve.
Lilith? So she was before Eve?
Allegedly.
What? There's a Bible I don't know about. Lilith was jealous of God and wanted to create her own in her image without God. And so did Eve. Then Eve was Lilith's daughter. Without godly gifted 7, which I believe is a family member, but I won't dox the name. Without love making, you wouldn't exist. And this is the conversation that also comes up at the family gatherings. So I have a family member that's in the chat right now. And he's saying, without love making, you wouldn't exist. I don't know. I think that obviously without the action, we wouldn't exist. And I do think that there's a proper way to now I'm trying to avoid saying the wrong word, but to form a union. right? I think the proper way to form a union is better when there's love shared, true love, God's love shared between the husband and the wife. Not an emotional way, not for the sake of the ego, not to make each other feel good, not to sweep your problems underneath the rug, not that type of union. I'm talking about when you truly love the person and you guys both love each other, not because, oh, I love you, but because you understand each other. You know the person. You guys have a connection, a friendship, right? And you decide you want to make a baby together. I think that is a lot more genuine and anointed by God, meaning God's favor is on that process of baby making opposed to just the like feel good one. But nonetheless, I still think that it's a fallen act. But I'm not saying that it's bad or wrong and we shouldn't do it, right? But I still think that there's going to be consequences to those actions. That the act itself is not pure. I don't believe the act itself is pure. But I'm also not married, and the person in the chat, the family member, is married, right? And we've had great conversations about, he's shared with me about, his marriage and, all that stuff. But I just don't believe the act itself can ever be pure. Right? But make sure you get married if you're going to be screwing. And make sure it's the right person. Chat, let me see what the chat thinks. Instagram got it? Instagram have any comments? Let's see. But then, so if I have kids, God will curse me because I'm gay. But then if I have kids, definitely not waiting to be in a contract. So if I have kids, God will curse me because I'm gay. I can't be the decision maker on what God would do if a gay person, homosexual, whether male or female, decides to have children in the way that they do. The process. It's not up to me to decide how God's going to approach that. But I do believe that there's an order of God. And I do believe that I believe in the order. And it's nothing against the way people want to live their life and their lifestyle. Do you, right? I don't agree with it. I love my cousin. I respect my cousin. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Doesn't mean I have to agree with the lifestyle. But I also can't say that be the judge of how life would be if she had a child with her significant other. But it's not the way I choose to live my life. And I believe in the order. My beliefs line up with the order. The man, the woman, the children. And that's what I believe. And the family unit itself. And not only just that, the roles of men and women, I believe in too, fall underneath the order of God. The rules have been thrown out. And it's not rules that you need to follow, like you read it and like, let me figure out how to be a good wife. No, you're not supposed to follow a rule book. They're supposed to come out of you. And I'll speak to my cousin. My cousin made the family dinner. She made she's a woman, and she made the family dinner yesterday, and she was serving everybody. That's a female womanly quality. That's natural. That's in the natural nature of a woman. But if you tell a woman, oh, you need to be in the kitchen, she'll take it offensively. Meanwhile, she's in the kitchen anyway. But nobody wants to be told you need to be in the kitchen. And you shouldn't be told you need to be in the kitchen. You should feel it naturally, and you should go about it naturally. right? So I'm not forcing it on anybody to say that you need to follow this rule, you need to do this. That's not my game. I'm not into that, right? But if I'm gonna get married to somebody, I would hope and I would want it to be in the natural order. I would want her to want to do these things, to want to take on the female nature, to want to raise kids, to want to be in the kitchen, because I believe in those things. Not because she feels like she has to. And I've dealt with that in my past relationship. I was trying to make her do it, and I was trying to make sure I was the man for her and make sure we're both a holy. And that was a mistake. We're forcing it. And you want to be genuine and real, even if it's like not what people think is the right thing. So I don't think it's wrong that the person is gay. I don't think that it's wrong that they're going about it the way they're going about it, because that's where they're at in life. That's what they choose to do. And they shouldn't be judged for it or ridiculed for it or criticized for it. And live your life how you want to live it. I just don't agree. I live my life in a different way. But when I see my cousin or when I see other people on the street, I show them the same amount of love as I show people who agree with me. My cousin and I, we grew up dancing. Before we even thought about husband, wife, lesbian, gay. You know what I'm saying? So it's about love at the end of the day. But anyway, you're a virgin or a sinner like us. So my cousin asked, so y'all weren't having sex, referring to my last relationship. No, my last relationship, the girl and I were together for almost 3 years and we did not have sex. We barely kissed. Now, mind you, there were some slip-ups. I'm going to be real with you guys. There were some slip-ups that caused the problem, if we keep it all the way real. We didn't have no sex, though, and we would barely kiss. But when the flesh was getting weak, we had some slip-ups, right? And every time we would slip up, problems would arise. Because emotions would get involved. That's what that ego and that stuff triggers. It triggers the emotion, your lower nature. But when we weren't doing that, and we were, focusing on getting to know each other, and we were having this friendship, and we were focused on the friendship, then we grew closer and closer. But ultimately, at the end of the day, our egos were involved too much to the point that, the evil nature was involved too much in both of us that we got caught up in that, and that's what broke it apart. But when it came to our actual friendship and our actual connection, it was pure, but we were battling with the evil nature. So that was that. But what if I get married and the sex is whack? A lot of people say that too. What if I get married and the sex is whack? The sex will never be whack. You know why? Because before you got married, the person you got married to, you guys already developed such a great connection, and you guys have such a great friendship. And with connection and friendship and knowing the person, there's no way sex can be bad. It's actually greater than the sex for the sake of the sex. When it's connected, that's a different thing. That's how you make the boys. There you go. That's how you make the boys first. That's how you make the boys first. It gotta be real, gotta be legit. You gotta be the real deal. Anyway, that's not what she's talking about. How would you know? That's true. She said, how would you know? That's true, Nicole. How would I know? I don't have no child. Or do I? No. Amazing. That's funny. Let me see what the chat is saying here. And then I got to get to that last part. How do I get out of this? What the? I stayed a little past time. Is that okay, chat? Are you cool with that, or am I talking too much? You guys, I stayed a little past time because it's Friday. The American Anchor Baby ain't coming on after me. His show is at 4 p.m. Pacific time today. The American Anchor Baby is not on at 12 Pacific time. He's on at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So I got a little time to be a little loosey-goosey. Is that all good? But Hassan, if you gotta go, I understand. I'll take it from here. Joel gonna have a girl first. Don't put that on me, Bob Dillo. I'm all mad about it. It's not like I would mind anyway. Like, I'm joking, right? I can have a girl first, but in the way that he's saying it, don't put that on me, Bob. Joel just quickly reminisced. I did. Wow, this is kind of interesting reading these comments. I never just had time to sit here and look through this. Joel, oh, you nasty name. You're going to make me put you on timeout. Am I making sense, though? Yeah, Nicole, that's all love. Nicole says, all love. This was fun. It's all love. Glad to have the conversation. Oh, and by the way, she made some crazy macaroni and cheese yesterday. I took so much home. She made some crazy macaroni and cheese. My cousin, who's in the chat, talking to me. She made some mac and cheese. She's a chef, by the way. She actually, I think she has her own business as well. And she makes vegan food, but she also makes regular food. And this girl can throw down. And I got the macaroni and cheese. I ain't never tasted nothing like that. And then she made some greens and some broccoli. Like, she really a chef. So Nicole, I'll have you know, you wanted you to go in the kitchen, girl. You be throwing down. And I have a younger sister too. She be in the kitchen cooking. That's where y'all gotta go. That's where it's at. Stay there. But no, yeah, she can really cook. But anyway, a couple more, and then I'm gonna get back to the message. You need another hour to set things straight, Joel. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how long it goes. But I appreciate it, Jib Jab. Let's see what else. Her company is called Cooking for Jesus, Joel. I wish I knew her company name. Nicole, send me the company's name, and then I'll shout you out. Thank you, my minimal housewife duties. Salute, Joel. You need to do one more hour. That's a female question. I don't remember. How you make boys first? I told you, Jason Urban. I told you how you make them boys first. But actually, there's some people, obviously, Jesse made a boy first, and he wasn't married. He's told you that story multiple times. He made a boy first. I think he was like 19. And he made a boy first, but he wasn't married, and he still made a boy. So there's more to the secret. But you got to know what you're doing. That's how I feel. And I ain't talking about like in a nasty way. Like, you got to do it this way. But in a way without being inappropriate. You got to know what you're doing. But yes. Hi, Joel. Hi, Joel's cousin. Okay, let me get back to the thing. So her information for her business is executive chef of Fork and Film and owner of R.Safe Haus or House, but she spelled it Haus. Executive chef of Fork and Film and owner of Our.Safe. I don't know if that was a typo, but Our.Safe or Our Safe Haus or House, Haus. Either way, y'all go look it up. She can cook. And she's a vegan chef, but she cooks regular stuff too. But check her out. She ain't playing in the kitchen. And she black. Okay. I got a call. Should I take a call before I get to the last part? Yeah, let me take a call, possibly. You can call in 888-775-3773, and we can get into some stuff. Oh, she says house. You ain't Mexican. She said, I'm Mexican. You ain't Mexican. Your mama black. Executive chef of Fork and Film and owner of Our Safe House. Amazing. Check her out. Let me go to Brian out of North Carolina. Brian, you're on air. Welcome to the show, man.
What's going on, Joel? How you doing?
All is well. How are you?
All is well, man. Hey, I wanted to ask you.
Yes, sir.
What you mean? When you said you gotta know what you're doing?
Oh shoot, Nick. When you get a chance, sorry, Brian, give me a second. I'm just seeing your note, Nick. When you get a chance, if you want to come in, you still want to come into the studio, and we'll get into it. Cool.
Oh no, I thought you meant you needed a board guy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering what you meant when you said you gotta know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. You would call in and ask me that, man. You just gotta know what you're doing. I think it's. What do you think I mean?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You gotta know what you're doing, and not in an inappropriate way, but in a way of like.
I heard you say that. Yeah.
In a way of like, I don't even know how to explain it. In a way of such of just being, for one, overcoming. For one, if I'm being honest, for one, overcoming, growing in the light. For one, growing in understanding who you are. For two, and growing in manhood. For three, meaning like becoming a man, growing in confidence, understanding God, knowing God. All these things add to knowing what you're doing. That's all I'm gonna say, man. I'm gonna leave it there.
All right.
Bro,
I got you.
You gotta.
That's funny. Of course, all of those things matter. I do think there's a certain level of alphaness that is already within to achieve the male coming out.
Meaning that, what do you mean?
I don't know, man. It's something that's within the man that's unique. It's already there without him knowing or with him knowing.
Right, but that's the point that I'm trying to make. You just made it better. But that type of energy, that alpha spirit, that word is so overused. I hate to even say, but that alpha spirit is what is the forefront of it, in my opinion, the ingredient. But I think men, like, obviously through life and everything, we fall away from that and we get more emotional and get more caught up in the ego. And so we actually go about things differently. Even when it comes down to the actual act, we go about things entirely differently. And all of that plays a part. People don't think about that, but it does.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, you're right. We can't expose the secret on the air though.
Right. We keep it under wraps.
Hey, you lift weights, Joel?
Yeah, man, I'm in there.
Okay, I see that your biceps, man, is looking well taken care of.
Yeah, man, I'm in there, but I've been doing it for. I appreciate everyone, but I've been doing it for since I was 15. So it's been like 16, 17 years. I've been at it. So it's been
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Here.
Oh, you too?
That's crazy. Yep, man. I started lifting weights probably actually when I was 14.
Oh, okay. Did you play sports in high school or how did it come about?
I played baseball all through high school and then first year of college.
Wow, you played growing up?
Yep.
Man, baseball was my sport. I played baseball and football all the way. Baseball was my favorite sport, but since I was little, I played baseball all the way through to like sophomore year. So I played.
I seen I remember the video you had of you at the batting cage. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That boy's swinging.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah,
right on, man.
Anything else?
No, I missed a lot of your show today. I ain't even gonna hold you. I got to go back and I got to rewind and watch it again. One caller did call in and say, maybe it was a super chat or something that said, you're here because of love making.
Yeah.
That's baloney. That's a thought. Hey, tell him to let that one go real quick.
I'll let him know.
Throw that one out the window. That's a thought.
What do
That's
you think?
Crazy.
Well, what do you think? What do you disagree about it?
I just know that that's a thought. Just to the statement in itself. Well, the statement in itself, you came from love making. Ain't no such thing as love making. That's some R. Kelly made up woo woo make you feel good type stuff. Aside from that alone, we already know where we come from. It's a mistake.
What do you mean?
We come from a mistake. We are products of the fallen state.
You mean like an accident, or what do you mean by extinct? I mean a mistake.
Out of sin.
Oh, okay. Right. And
It's just the way it's set up.
And most people come from an accident.
Right.
Parents,
it's just the way, and a lot of people, even the people that say they planned it, that's no accident.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree, man.
Throw all that out.
I agree, man. I'll let them know. It's a family member, so I'll make sure I'll let them know you disagree.
For sure. And another thing, man, recently you were talking about the Bible and how you put it down and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Man, I did the same thing a few years ago when I found out, like when I went and forgave and everything, and I started waking up, I went and got a Bible and I wanted to start reading it. And the moment I started reading that Bible, bro, all these thoughts
yes, sir.
that were just like insane. But at the same time, even though they were insane, the thoughts that I was having were pointing me at the problem.
Yes, sir.
And so, man, it was just like, it was somehow me picking up that Bible and then having all that happen. And really, it was Jesse. Jesse slapped me upside the head when I called in one day with a thought.
Yeah.
And he made me realize, like, oh crap, man, like that's a bunch of BS. And I really looked at it, and it pointed to the fact that I still had issues with women.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I, like you say, man, it's hard, but if you just keep your eyes on it and watch it when it happens and just let it happen,
exactly,
and not try to do anything about it, it 100% will disappear, man. And it's something on the other side of that I can't put into words, really.
Yeah.
I try my best sometimes, but yeah. I really can't put it into the words to describe what it is. It's something that you really just got to see for yourself.
Yeah.
And you'll dealing with women has been so. Men are here to deal with women.
Yeah, for sure.
Men are here to deal with women. That's a 100%. Like in the military, they say you're a soldier 24/7. You're a man 24/7, and part of being a man 24/7 is dealing with women. And if you don't know how to do that the right way, you're causing chaos.
You're causing chaos. Yeah, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, and that's why we have to overcome. And that's why we have to overcome men in general, because women have to overcome too, and it's their responsibility to overcome. But as men, we lead the way, and we have to overcome so we can just be an example. And it doesn't mean that we sit around and criticize and correct them at all times, but just by our light as we overcome, they'll look at it and want to be corrected and want to be, helped to overcome. So yeah, we gotta overcome.
You're right, man. If I could just say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
You have to, in order to do that, in order to be the man that you need to be, there is no room for you, men. Men, there is no room for you. You have to go places, and you will go places, and everywhere you go, you got to remember that there is no room for you. If you have any idea or thought about you, there's no room for the light.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep because our first thought when we see a fine girl is you. How do I get her? How do I get her number? Or how do I make this, how do I suck the life out of this situation? That's the first thought. You think about you, opposed to allowing it to pass, or opposed to just seeing that she's pretty. You know what I mean? Like, you're 100%. You got to let go of you. I appreciate it, Brian.
For sure, man. Thanks for letting me speak, and it's good to see you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You got to hit that gym because I know you said you took home some macaroni and cheese, so you got to get some
now I got to get back to it. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Good call, man. Give me a call again.
All right, thanks, Joel.
All right, man.
Take care.
You too. Wow. Oh. It's weird going past 12 because it feels like I'm late. But I won't stay that long. I just want to get to this last point. But I also want to make sure that I look at the chat a little bit because I appreciate the support and you guys tuning in to Lil Old Joel on a Tuesday. Well, today's Friday, but typically on a Tuesday at 12 noon in the middle of the day. That's cool. So I appreciate it. Oh, my family member says, he said, this guy is brainwashed. Referring to Brian. And then he goes on to say, your belief system is based on your programming by man, and you create what you believe in. Your belief system is based on your programming by man, and you create what you believe in, which is true. Is that what you believe in is what you live out. So if you believe you're depressed, you are going to be depressed, right? When in actuality, depression does not exist. This was racism was a conversation that came up, but at the family dinner. But the depression does not exist. But the feelings of depression will come about if you believe depression exists, because you're just making a judgment that life is hard, you're worthless. That's all judgment. It's not depression. It's just a judgment. Joel, how would you want a woman to obey you? That's a great question. Matthew says, Joel, how would you want a woman to obey you? That's a great question. I used to be, but I'm not into like sitting down on the first date and saying, hey, you better obey me or it's not going to work out. I'm not into that. And I'm not into like trying to test her to see if she's going to obey me. That's not my style. It may be for other people, like whatever, but it's not my style. My thing is that I don't believe people's words or actions. right? I go based off of who they really are, because people can say something, but their beliefs change. You know how many times I heard somebody tell me that they're a Christian and that they've overcome anger and all these things, but then get caught up in an angry situation, or in a Christian in namesake only. Like, people say things, but don't mean they mean it. So my thing when it comes to obedience is it just happening. It just happening. You get to know somebody, and you be yourself around them, being respectful at the same time, and be yourself and they're their self, and you see if you like them, if they like you, and if you guys still have that connection, and they're okay with the things that you're okay with or whatever, and they don't take things too personal, or they understand your true intention. All those things will lead to them wanting to obey you, because once they truly see who you are, if you're a decent person and you're overcoming, once they truly see who you are, they get insight to who you are as a person, your spirit, then they're not going to want to do anything other than obey you. Meaning, like, they're going to want to serve you because they're going to see that this man is of love. This man is a good man, as good as we can be, right? This man is seeking God. This man wants what's right. This man does what's right. They're going to follow you because that light, everybody, all human beings on earth are looking for peace. They're looking for love, even though they don't know it. So when they actually get an insight and see love and they see peace, they're going to grasp onto you and they're not going to let go. Believe me, once they recognize peace and love in you, they're going to grasp onto it and they're not going to let go because they found what they're looking for. And it's not the actual person, it's not you, but they see it through you, right? And that's what's going to help them, the woman, find it in themselves. They're not going to let you go. They're going to want to obey you. They're going to want to cook for you. They're going to want to have your children. Not because the rule. As a matter of fact, I don't even think that ever has to even be said. I don't think it ever has to be said, oh, are you going to be in the kitchen? Are you going to be in the... And I get people say that, but I don't think it needs to be said. Because they can lie just to get that ring, especially if you got money, just to lock you in. They'll say everything they want you to hear. Yep, I'll be that woman in the kitchen. That's me. I'll have the babies. Yep. And you lock them in. And their opinions can change. So it's about letting it happen naturally and you guys finding that without any pressure, without any expectation. Listen to what I'm saying. Y'all, I'm not making this up. No pressure, no expectation, no preconceived ideas imposed on each other. You both are just chilling, getting to know each other, keeping it light, not getting into these deep conversations for the sake of just hoping that they're what you're looking for. Like, that's all like forced, right? Let it come naturally, and then till death do you part. It'll never, ever divorce because it's grounded. A house can't fall if it has a strong foundation. That's just what it is. It's just what it is. That's how God made it. So I used to be in trying to preach and be a man and try to show them I'm the man and try to make sure she's being a woman and tell her she better serve me or she's not a godly woman. All that is ego. So, yeah, get rid of all these words and like and all these like sayings and all that stuff. It's not real if you gotta like use it on people, use it against people. If that makes sense. But anyway, it's almost 12:30. This is crazy. This is how James and the anchor baby and the Hake Report do it. It's kind of nice. It's like hanging out. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing my voice. That's for sure. But it's kind of nice. Yes, Hake and Joel show would be amazing. James and I did used to have a show once upon a time with another a guy named Esteban. But that's a story for another day. Breeding James. Cool. Let me get to this last thing, just so I can get it out the way. I hope I still got the viewers. I don't know if you guys like me anymore, because we only want to see him for an hour. That's it. Now he taking the joke too far. So the 3 steps that I believe that help me, that I live by, of returning to God. 3 simple things, right? And I made it this way. I brought it down to 3 simple things because that way we're not like constantly trying to figure out how to get back and like having like 1,000 different things we need to do to walk with God, walk on water, right? Or at least to return to the Father and, make our way, overcome. 3 simple things that's been changing my life. Okay? The first step is repentance. Okay? Repentance. And what repentance is full honesty with yourself first, right? Full honesty about yourself. Be honest about yourself and keeping your eyes on yourself and accepting all that you are dealing with. None of that denial stuff. None of that pretending we don't have these issues because we don't want to feel bad about them. I'm talking about full transparency with yourself, honesty, and admitting like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I did that. I'm not gonna lie, I did that. Yeah, I behave in that way. Yeah, that's true. Full transparency and repent. And repentance means admitting, right? With yourself. I'm just talking about yourself right now. Admitting, yeah, confessing it. I'm that. I did that. Not I'm that, but I did that. That happened. That's the first step because you have to be able to be real. You have to be able to be a real person. You can't lie. You can't do that stuff because you're not free. The truth shall set you free. Every time I realized I've done something wrong and I confessed it, I've grown more in peace. I felt freer because the truth is not gonna bring harm. It's gonna set you free. So the first one is repentance, full honesty with self, right? The second one, forgiveness, right? When you look at yourself, you realize that you may have anger, you may have ego, you have these emotions, right? The evil spirit within. And you realize because you have it, everybody else also has it. And it helps you understand that it's wrong for you to hate, resent, or be angry at somebody else who's broken just like you. Or just like you were, or whatever, right? It's wrong to hate somebody, be angry, or resent somebody who is also going through things just like you. right? And when you do that, you go and forgive the people that influenced that in the very beginning, which is your parents, right? Because they were your first influences. And the way you turned out, a big chunk of that has to do with the way they raised you. So the anger, resentment, and hate that you feel in your heart, you think that you just made it up and it just came out of nowhere. But no, it came from the influences of your parents who were also possessed by that evil spirit. So you forgive them because they couldn't help it. They did the best they could. You forgive them, and then when you forgive them, you're set free. God forgives you because you did the right thing. You set it free. But you have to truly realize you need to forgive. And you truly have to realize that you're wrong for being angry, hateful, or resentful to anybody. That's evil. Because everybody is your brother and sister, your neighbor. And they all got problems just like you got problems. So number 2 is forgiveness, right? Number 3, staying out of your thoughts. You got to do the silent prayer, okay? And some of the people who don't know what the silent prayer is, it's like a meditative, observative, I don't even know if that's a word, but it makes sense. You watch your thoughts. So you be still, right? You be quiet and you watch your thoughts. You don't go, because we all get those thoughts, right? Those thoughts in the mind that make us feel fear, all those things, right? You watch them, but you just watch them. You don't go with them, right? And you be still and you practice. It's about practicing being in the moment, right? So you do this, the silent prayer, by sitting down, being still, being quiet, close your eyes, and just being present, right? Being still. And when the thoughts come to your mind, you just watch them. And if you get caught up in the thought and you end up going with it, you don't make a big deal about it, you don't judge it, you just find your way back to the present moment. And what that is doing is allowing you to get out of the illusion of thoughts that aren't real, that aren't true, and that set you up, fear, doubt, depression, anxiety, and it brings you to the present, which is faith, full faith of God and with God in the present moment. That's what the present is. God is in the present. And that's what the silent prayer does for you. It helps you practice being in the moment. So you got to do the silent prayer. You have to do the silent prayer. You have to do the silent prayer. I hear people all the time on Jesse's show, but not even just Jesse's show. My friends who do the silent prayer say, I'm not doing it. I haven't been doing it because the silent prayer seems like it's not working. That's a big mistake. You got to do the silent prayer every morning and every night. And I'm not talking about just going through the motion, just sitting there. Because I've done that too. Just like, I am doing a silent prayer. I'm sitting here, eyes are closed, but that's going through the motions. I'm talking about watching your thoughts and taking it serious. 3 easy steps. And it's so simple, and that's all God wants us to do. Step number 1, repent. Full honesty with self. Step number 2, forgiveness. Realize it's wrong for hating another broken person. Number 3, silent prayer. Staying out of your thoughts and staying in the present. And that's faith. Faith is in the present. Trusting that God is going to work everything out for you. You don't got to be in your head. You don't got to overthink. God is working it out. And the only time we need to be in our head, and some of you guys may know because this is the message that Jesse Lee Peterson preaches on often, is that the only time we need to go to our minds is when we're using the mind as a tool, right? To solve a problem, like not spiritual problem, but solve a problem like like for me, I'm a dancer and I have to come up with choreography for my classes. I'm a dance instructor. So I have to think of what my students need. Okay, like she's a beginner, so I got to figure out, okay, she's learning the basics, so she has to make sure she moves big. We got to get her to grow in confidence. So I have to figure out different ways to work with the student. So I'm using my brain as a tool in that moment, right? But when I'm done doing the choreography and now I'm on my way to my classes, I shouldn't still be thinking about how to do that. Because then at that point, now Satan's getting involved. You're not going to be ready. You're going to do it wrong. So only use your mind as a tool when it needs to be used as a tool. But when it comes to solving like actual issues within, like overcoming, you can't do it. We can't do it. Only God can do it. So that's why we're just supposed to be aware and be in the present. And that's actual faith. And trust God is going to work out everything for you. And that's perfect peace. Those 3 simple steps, walking on water, guaranteed, or your money back. Okay? Yeah, that's all, y'all. That's it. Keep it simple, keep it chill. Follow those 3 things, and everything else around it will all make sense. We have to learn how to keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't try to stop doing the vices. Don't try to stop doing all these things. Don't try to do none of that. None of that. Keep it simple. Meditation helps you connect to your higher self, which is God. It's very true. Silent prayer. All right, does that make sense, y'all? This was fun. I'm glad I did this because I got to spend a little time with the chat, and that's kind of cool. And yeah, and some people on Instagram are engaging, and I appreciate that too. And yeah, I just didn't have to rush, so that was nice. I appreciate you guys, but what I am gonna end, just because I ain't got nothing else to say. Right? Then we just gonna be looking at each other and looking silly. Me looking at the camera. So I appreciate you guys as always. You can podcast the show audio only on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all those things if you want to listen to the show audio only. Other than that, you could check me out. Full episodes, past episodes on YouTube. As you guys know, subscribe. Tell your peoples about the show, y'all, so we can get the message out. Follow everybody across the platform. The American Anchor Baby, James from the Hake Report, Hassan, Wow Hassan. Follow everybody, right? Because there's a network that's being built. The JLP network, which is also, we got some surprise coming out. Let me chill, because I'm about to reveal too much. But we got some stuff coming, so you want to subscribe to everybody. Follow me on Instagram, Joel Friday TV. I'm pretty active on Instagram, right? Instagram and YouTube, I'm active. I'm on TikTok too. We're all over the place. So make sure you follow all platforms across the board. The Gifted of Dance, Joel Friday TV, JLP Network, and let's spread the message because the world's going through it. Anyway, thank y'all. I appreciate it. That's it. Until next time, if the Lord is willing, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and we'll get into some more stuff, some more fellowship, and we'll go from there. Amazing. Until next time, y'all. Bye.